I would like to welcome the audience to the April 19th, 2022 Parish Planning and Zoning Board meeting. Would you all please stand while Mr. LaSalle Williams says the invocation and pledge of allegiance?
Our gracious God, again we come. Thank thee for allowing us to see another blessed day. Forgive us our sins and our transgressions and make us fit to serve. And we just thank you for all the many blessings for which you restored on us. We pray for those who suffer throughout this great land for which you made for us. We pray for this board. We ask for blessings on those who come tonight to seek our help. Let the Holy Spirit guide and lead us that we might do that which is right in your sight. This we offer this day as our prayer in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chrissy, would you please call the roll?
Chair Kirk Smith.
Here.
Vice Chair Julia Dickerson.
Here.
Ms. Latricia Cobb.
Here.
Mr. Keith DeBrock. Ms. Sharon Galicia.
Here.
Ms. Janelle Hyatt.
Here.
Mr. Art Little.
Here.
Mr. Jake Porsche.
Here.
Mr. Carl Vincent is absent. Mr. LaSalle Williams.
Here.
Ms. Deanne Winey.
Here.
Thank you, Christy. This is an 11-member board. It will take a majority of those members present to grant or deny any request heard tonight. The chair will refrain from voting unless that vote might affect the outcome. The meeting will be conducted with me reading the requests from the agenda. The planning staff will give a presentation and report their recommendations. If the applicant would like to add to the staff's presentation, or if someone from the audience has comments, please come to the microphone, state your name, address, and the nature of your request. All persons wishing to speak other than the applicants need to fill out a blue request to appear form located in the back of this room. The form must be given to a staff member prior to the reading of the agenda item. As required by this board's bylaws, in all cases, the proponents will be limited to 10 minutes. Opponents will be granted 10 minutes as well, with each speaker allowed no more than 3 minutes. I recommend that a spokesperson be selected if there's a large group wanting to speak on the same agenda item. If 4 or more speaker request forms are submitted, the time allotted for the individual speakers will be limited based upon the number of forms submitted. The chair has the right to limit speakers who present redundant information or personal attacks. In unique situations, the chair may extend or the board may vote to extend the time allotted for speakers. After discussion, the board will vote on each request. I will announce the decision of the board after the vote. The variance and exceptions are final tonight. The rezoning cases will go before the police jury for final action on Thursday, April 21st, 2022. This meeting is being filmed by the Calcasieu Parish Government Channel and can be viewed on Wednesday and Thursday following the meeting. For additional run dates, check the website at www.calcasieuParish.gov, Channel 5 in Lake Charles, Sulphur, Moss Bluff, Westlake, Vinton, DeQuincy, and Gillis, Channel 99 in Corliss and Grand Lake. Please either turn off or silence all electronic devices. Take appropriate action to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of March 22nd, 2022. I will entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Dickerson, second by Ms. Winey. All those in favor, state aye.
Aye.
None opposed, motion passes. Variances. Item 6A, take appropriate action on the following application. 290 Parish Road in Ward 1, variance to decrease the required number of parking spaces, required 36 spaces, requesting 32 spaces. Applicant, I don't want to mispronounce anyone's name, but Mr. or Mrs. Vo. This is variance -0322-0205. I will entertain a motion for approval with conditions.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cobb, second by Ms. Hyatt. Ms. Tunn.
This property is in Moss Bluff on Parish Road. The applicant is requesting to decrease the number of parking spaces for a proposed Chinese restaurant. With the total building square footage, the applicant is required to have 36 parking spaces and requesting 32. Because there is no evidence of a hardship, the staff recommends the request be denied. Should the board grant the request, the staff recommends the following conditions: that the development adhere to the site plan on file with the Division of Planning and Development, provided that the director or designee may authorize adjustments to the site plan in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development, and that permitting is subject to a sewer approval from Louisiana Department of Health and Sanitation Department.
Thank you, Ms. Tunn. Is the applicant present and would like to add to this presentation? The applicant is not here? Okay. Any comments or questions by the board? Ms. Galicia?
Yeah, we worked really hard in most stuff to get an overlay district where we try to make things look nice, especially, we got the storm that came and now Windows has been rebuilt and it looks good and we're finally making some progress on things looking really nice. I'd just like to say that I'd really like to keep it looking good because we fought really hard to put some things in place, to have some green space and make it a place that looks good. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Porsche?
Just a general comment on that, to echo what Ms. Galicia is saying. Sometimes if the design, comes before or after the approvals, these spaces and what we require are actually just a good functional part of a facility. And sometimes you're asking for something that will be a headache in the future. You just don't realize it because the statistics tell you should have 36 spaces for it to be a nice functional facility. So, and the precedent it sets, for the next person. But so, yeah, it would be hard for me to support this one.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? There being none, Ms. Christie, roll call vote.
Ms. Dickerson?
No.
Ms. Cobb? Ms. Galicia?
No,
Ms. Hyatt? Mr. Little?
No.
Mr. Porsche?
No.
Mr. Williams?
No.
Ms. Winey?
No.
Motion fails. Item 7A, take appropriate action on the following application, 8179 Tom A. Bear Road in Ward 3, exception to allow commercial development, reception facility, applicant Janet Thielen, exception -0322-0139. I will entertain a motion for approval with condition. Motion by Ms. Cobb, second by Ms. Hyatt. Ms. Tunn.
This property is in the southeast Lake Charles area, and the applicant intends to convert the existing residence into a reception facility. Because minimal impacts are to be expected, the staff recommends the request be granted with the condition that the development adhere to the site plan on file with the Division of Planning and Development, provided that the director or designee may authorize adjustments to the site plan in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development.
Thank you, Ms. Tunn. Does the applicant have anything to add to this presentation?
Tommy Eastman, 3221 Ryan Street in Lake Charles. The only thing that we had to add is that we're going to adhere to all the parking standards and all of the things that are required. This is a 60-acre tract, and it's it's going to be an asset to the area. Do y'all have any questions?
Thank you, sir. Any comments on this matter? There being none, all those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, motion carries. Rezonings, item 8A. Take appropriate action on the following application. 564 Parish Road in Ward 1, amend ordinance number 6278 That's RZ 01-032-013, stipulation number 1, which states that the development here to the site plan on file dated September 12, 2013, with the Division of Planning and Development, provided that the Director of Planning and Development or designee may authorize adjustments to site plans in light of technical and engineering considerations discovered during development, to allow a revised site plan to remove stipulation number 2, which states that a 6-foot wooden privacy fence be installed along all property lines of the development, to remove stipulation number 4, which states that the development must provide a centralized postal approved mailbox, and to rezone the west 1.32 acres from multifamily residential, RM, to general commercial, C2, to allow commercial development. Applicant Ritchie's 3D Construction LLC, RZ-0222-0224. I will entertain a motion for approval with condition. Motion by Ms. Cobb, second by Ms. Hyatt. Ms. Tunn.
This property is in Moss Bluff on Parish Road. The property was originally zoned light commercial as part of comprehensive zoning. In 2013, the property was rezoned to multifamily residential to allow 8 duplexes, which was not constructed. At this time, the applicant is requesting that the west 1.32 acres be rezoned to general commercial to allow commercial development a strip center. Because the proposed development is consistent with the character of the area, the staff recommends that the request be granted with the following conditions: that the development adhere to the site plan on file with the Division of Planning and Development, provided that the director or designee may authorize adjustments to the site plan in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development, that all exterior lighting must be oriented inward toward the development and the light source cannot be visible to the adjacent properties, that screening must be provided in accordance with Section 26-50 of the Parish Code of Ordinances prior to final electrical approval, that the development adhere to stormwater best management practices, and that a runoff management plan will be required unless appropriate waiver is granted by the Division of Engineering.
Thank you, Ms. Tunn. Does the applicant have anything to add to this presentation? Okay. There being none, any questions or comments by the board on this item? There being none, ma'am?
The removal of the privacy fence, that's one of the revisions?
Staff?
My question is, so the removal of the 6-foot wooden privacy fence installed along all property lines?
So when we rezoned the property to multifamily, that was a stipulation to have a fence around the entire property. Since we're only rezoning the 1.3 acres on the west side, he will have to do screening for the commercial property to screen it from the residential side.
Okay,
There'll be
okay,
something there.
okay, that's what I wanted to be certain about. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or concerns, comments? Being none, all those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, motion carries. Item 8B, take appropriate action on the following application: 722 Helen Lane in Ward 1, rezoned from light commercial C1 and mixed residential R2 to multifamily residential R-M to allow residential development townhomes. The applicant, Louis W. Sellers, Edux. This is RZ-0222-0227. I will entertain a motion for approval with the conditions. Motion by Ms. Cobb, second by Ms. Hyatt. Ms. Tunn.
This property is also in Moss Bluff off West Telephone Road and Helen Lane. The applicant is requesting to rezone to multifamily residential to allow multifamily development townhomes. The townhomes will consist of 2 bedrooms, 1 and a 1/2 bath with brick and hardy board exterior. Because the proposed zoning is consistent with the character of the area, the staff recommends the request be granted with the following conditions: that the development adhere to the site plan on file, the Division of Planning and Development, provided that the director or designee may authorize adjustments to the site plans in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development, that all exterior lighting must be oriented inward toward the development or structures to minimize intrusion onto surrounding properties, that the development adhere to stormwater best management practices, and that a runoff management plan will be required unless appropriate waiver is granted by the Division of Engineering.
Thank you, Ms. Tunn. Does the applicant have anything to add to this presentation? Okay. Any questions, comments by the board? There being none, all those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, motion carries. Item 8C, take appropriate action on the following application. 3548 H. Broussard Road in Ward 6, rezoned from agricultural A1 to recreational vehicle park R-RVP to allow a recreational vehicle park, 51 spaces. The applicant, Samuel Sanchez, this is RZ-0322-0228. I will entertain a motion for approval with the conditions. Motion by Coach Williams, second by Ms. Cobb. Ms. Tunn.
This property is in the North Sulphur area off High Hope Road on H. Broussard Road and encompasses 5 acres of land. The applicant intends to develop a 51-space recreational vehicle park. The proposed recreational vehicle park will have different size lots to accommodate small and large recreational vehicles. The existing house and manufactured home on the site will be demolished and removed from the property. Because the development is not consistent with the character of the area, the staff recommends the request be denied. Should the board grant the request, the staff recommends the following conditions: that the development adhere to the site plan on file with the Division of Planning and Development, provided that the director or designee may authorize adjustments to the site plan in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development, that all exterior lighting must be oriented inward toward the development or structures to minimize intrusion onto surrounding properties, that screening must be provided along the north, south, and east property lines in accordance with Section 26-50 of the Parish Code of Ordinances prior to final electrical approval, and that a runoff management plan will be required unless appropriate waiver is granted by the Division of Engineering. And we've received written opposition to this request, and you have that in your tablets, in your blue cards.
We have a blue card. Does the applicant have anything to add to the staff's presentation?
My name's Samuel Sanchez. We're trying to provide this RV park for working people that come from out of town for these hurricanes and relief. Lake Charles constructed back again. Us as a personal owner business, as a contractor, we always have issues, a place to stay, somewhere quiet, peaceful, and away from everybody else. We will build a 8-foot privacy fence around the perimeter of the property. I understand we have drainage issues right now, and that will be addressed with the parish. They should get that, they should have been fixed that to begin with. And that's pretty much it. It's gonna be a gated community. Provide a 6-inch water line from there for better fire protection for everybody around the community. We're gonna get that water from High Hope, and it's gonna go run all the way to our property. And that's all I got.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Sanchez? Thank you, sir. We do have a blue card in opposition. Mr. Kevin Bouillon.
And Mr. Chairman, as the speaker comes up, I understand that he's kind of been anointed as a spokesperson. So I think we'll be a little liberal with his time. But I think he's promised us less than 5 minutes, so
Okay.
we'll hold him to that.
You, Mr. Gabb.
I'll take that. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Kevin Bouillon. I live at 228 Donmert Place Drive, which is an adjacent to H. Broussard. I would also ask the chairman if I can recognize the community folks that showed up today in opposition for this. So if you guys can stand or raise your hand, I appreciate it. So thank you very much. So our community is virtually crime-free, and many of us have lived there for over 30 years, and our kids played together, and now our grandkids. The kids ride their bikes to each other's homes with no worries because we all know each other and we look after each other. This spot rezoning of this property would drastically change this. This is a residential neighborhood. We are basically a gated community without a gate. It's a dead end with a dead end street off of it. No one comes in or out unless they live there. There's a minimum Traffic, there is minimum traffic and it's very quiet. We're approximately 26 residents on H. Broussard and Domert Place Drive. So now, assuming that we have 2 vehicles per home, and the RV park would increase by at least 100%, could go all the way up to 200% if each site has multiple vehicles. With everyone trying to leave their homes in the morning on a work day between 5:30 and 7:30 to commute to work, it would very easily become a traffic jam trying to enter High Hope Road off this dead-end street. Not to mention the issues trying to enter the already higher traffic volume on Highway 27. Obviously, without question, our property value of our homes would decrease for the capital gain of one man who isn't even a contributor or a voting resident in our community. This RV park would be literally across the street from a $500,000 home. What do you think that would do to our property value? Every homeowner owns a minimum of 1 acre of land. Many own 2 or more, and this would now be in our front yards. We're set up for single home living and no temporary housing. Let's suppose for a moment this property gets rezoned, this spot zoned, commercial, so an RV park can be developed, and the landowner decides not to develop an RV park. Now we are stuck with a piece of commercial property in our neighborhood that we don't want, and no telling what would be developed there. We don't want it. Is this really necessary for an RV park? In the past, we were able to house workers on 4 major construction projects being performed simultaneously. A quick internet search will give you the best 30 RV parks near Sulphur, 12 which are in Sulphur. Several RV parks were called in the area, all with availability. The big LNG man camp is empty, plenty of room to accommodate workers with new projects, for the new projects. So let's not kid ourselves, and I think the landowner just mentioned that. It will be, this RV park would be developed not for weekend entertainment. We need to call it what it is, which is a man camp for transit workers who have no investment in this community. Because of the lower living cost to live in an RV, in some cases, these types of accommodations have become a safe haven for meth labs, drug users, and dealers. Sex offenders do not have to register in temporary locations if they are staying less than 7 days. So they can come, stay, and leave for the weekend, and we never know who is lurking in our backyard. Which bears the question, will the RV park perform background checks on all occupants to assure our safety? The bus drops off our kids at the intersection of H. Broussard and Domert Place Drive, leaving the kids to pass right in front of the RV park. Not something this community would feel very comfortable with. Again, we would lose our security, safety for one man's capital gain. He mentioned the drainage. I won't go back into that. And I do have police reports on some RV parks in our Sulphur area. There's 11 pages of these of crimes and things that the police department was called on over the last few years. And the board is welcome to look at those. Again, our community would like to thank the board for giving us the opportunity to voice our concerns, and we are confident that you, the members, will vote with our community, which is 100% opposed to the rezoning of this property. By doing so, it would be a step in the right direction to stop the development of this RV park. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bouillon. Mr. Sanchez? Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a comment before Mr. Sanchez.
Okay.
I appreciate his honesty and his application that the RV park would be designed only for contractors coming in. We got a lot of these that come in, but I got to also acknowledge the staff's recommendation is not consistent with the area. So these contractors come in, when they get through, they gone back home. So what happens to that property then if we grant it? so odd, yeah. So it's something that we need to consider. You know, the contractors got to come in with a certain areas they need.
Thank you, Coach. Mr. Sanchez?
I feel like traffic, he said 100%. RV parks are not always 100% sure, so that's, I mean, not always 100% full, so that's not accurate. Also, the crime rate, I mean, I'm happy to look at the papers and see how long ago or when it was, but as far as contractors, they always need to come in and fix areas of Lake Charles. I mean, they get hit with every 2 years or so for hurricanes and stuff, and price gouging on hotels is ridiculous. That's why we got to bump up the prices on everything we built around the area, because, I mean, the place to stay has been a pain. Bad enough, we already got Westlake with all these plants and stuff, so most of the parks are already 90% full or so. And as far as traffic and speeding and stuff, it will not be tolerated in the park, and that'll be some of our some of our rules there, that if speeding or anything like that will be kicked out, no questions asked. And as far as homes around the area, we also got mobile homes right next to us too. So yes, there are $500,000 homes, but there's also mobile homes. So it's a mixture of both. And that's all I got.
Any questions? Mr. Porsche?
A lot of times we get into the discussion of, you know, the management, who's going to be staying there, and I think Coach Williams made an excellent point in that, you know, really what we're looking at is a classic case of spot zoning here, regardless if it's managed like Augusta National or if it's, you know, poorly managed. I don't see anything besides agricultural, single-family, residential anywhere on this map. Nothing even close. There's no manufactured parks, manufactured home parks, no multifamily residential, no C1. So for me, it's just looking at the map and seeing the spot zoning. So all the other issues, you know, really couldn't get past what Coach is saying. Once, if it changes hands, changes ownership, now it's not contractors.
Right.
Now who is it? That's a great point, but for me, it's just the spot zoning.
Thank you, Mr. Porsche. Ms. Winey, you have something?
Actually, Mr. Porsche addressed in some of my issues.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Ms. Christie, roll call vote?
Ms. Hyatt?
No.
Mr. Porsche?
No.
Mr. Williams? Ms. Winey?
No.
Ms. Dickerson? No. Ms. Cobb?
No.
Ms. Galicia?
No.
8 against.
Motion fails. Item 8D, take appropriate action on the following application. 1136 Dunn Ferry Road in Ward 6, rezoned from agricultural A1 to general commercial C2 to allow commercial development, manufactured home sales and service. The applicant, Misty Lofton et al. This is RZ-0322-0229. I will entertain a motion for approval with the conditions.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Cobb, second by Ms. Winey. Ms. Tunn.
This property is located on the northwest corner of Dunn Ferry Road and Hallbrook Park Road and encompasses 3.62 acres of agricultural land. Currently on the property is an existing shop, a house, and a manufactured home. The applicant purchased this property in October of 2021 and has been utilizing the existing shop for a manufactured home sales and service business. Due to the property not being zoned for this type of business, the applicant is requesting the property be rezoned to general commercial. Because the proposed zoning is not consistent with the character of the area, the staff recommends the request be denied. Should the board grant the request, the staff recommends the following conditions: that the development adhere to the site plan on file with the Division of Planning and Development, provided that the director or designee may authorize adjustments to the site plan in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development, that all exterior lighting must be oriented inward toward the development and the light source cannot be visible to the adjacent properties, that screening must be provided in accordance with Section 26-50 of the Parish Code of Ordinances, and that a runoff management plan will be required unless appropriate waiver is granted by the Division of Engineering.
Thank you, Ms. Tunn. Does the applicant have anything to add to this presentation?
When I bought the land,
Name and address for the
oh,
record.
Norman Simmons, Dunn Ferry Road. Anyway, what I want to tell you is when I bought the land, it's my they already had problems with these people that was there before me, Joshua Reeves. I think the parish had a lot of problems with them. I went in there and spent 20 grand cleaning the property. I mean, it was terrible. And we do have mobile, it ain't a sales lot. It's a storage yard. I bring mobile homes in there and fix them. Then I move, my son's got a lot on Highway 14, I bring them there to sell them. But anyway, well, and most of the houses are just stored there and they leave, sir. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to do, you know, we're just poor old country people, you know, trying to make a living. We ain't out there and we clean everything. We try to keep everything nice. I mean, when I bought the property, I automatically assumed it was commercial because of the shop. And I don't want the whole property zone commercial. I just want where the shop is. You know, and if y'all could help me in any kind of way, I'd really appreciate it. You know, we're just trying to get, you know, make some rentals and stuff and try to get, you know. I mean, we're out in the middle of nowhere. Right on Dunn Ferry Road, there's no homes around us.
Okay, any questions? Mr. Porcher?
Yes, sir.
So you said make some rentals. That was the
Well,
one.
what I'm gonna do,
I felt
I'll
like
bring
I
them
knew
over
where
there,
you were
sir.
going, and then you said make some rentals. so
Well, what I'm
I-
doing, I bring some houses over there and I fix them up and then I put them in trailer parks to make me some rentals.
Okay, all right.
Yes, sir.
So
No,
not
we
on
don't
this
have an
property.
office there.
You're not renting, you're not gonna try to rent.
No, sir, nothing
Okay,
there.
all right,
What I'm
that's
trying to
what I-
say is, we're not over there with, you know what I mean, got an office up front and say, hey, come on in, we're selling houses. You know what I mean? I'm just over, we're out in the middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? It's in the country. There's no nice homes nowhere around me. The nearest closest development is trailer houses, which that's what we do for a living. We move mobile homes. You know, and I'm just trying to branch out. I'm 52 years old, so I'm trying to get some, you know, a little bit of stuff put up, you know, when you get old. You know what I mean? I don't know if I can pull mobile homes the rest of my life.
Ms. Galicia?
What brought you in here to change this zoning?
Well, we found out it was zoned agriculture, and the parish, they come out, supposedly the guy before us would run whoever would come out there off with guns and everything else. I mean, I don't know about all this, or Joshua Reeves, but I mean, I just want you to know we're not them people. And we ain't been doing nothing but cleaning that place. I mean, they had mobile homes sitting upside down with the frame sticking up when we got there. You know what I mean? They had some old mobile homes that was abandoned, that was tore to pieces. You couldn't mow the grass. Me and my wife bought a tractor, you know, to keep up the grass part on the right side, over there where the house is. And I mean, we've done a lot out there. I mean, yeah, we got some mobile homes and we get them there. Some of them don't look as pretty as, which I'm gonna eliminate. I mean, if they could just give me you know, where I could have 10 homes there. You know what I mean? We keep them apart, we block them, we don't leave them all unblocked. Right now, I got a few to the right of the property, which if I have to, I'll stay in the fenced-in area around the building. You know what I mean? I'm just trying, you know, I mean, I got dumpsters out there. We keep the big, you know, yellow dumpster on. We got trash laying everywhere.
Any other questions for Mr. Simmons?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Simmons. We have a blue card in opposition, Mr. Rodney Johnson.
Mr. Chairman, I think we have 2 blue cards.
No, his was the first.
Oh, his was one,
before.
okay. 3 minutes for the speaker?
3 minutes, Mr. Johnson.
Good evening. I'm in opposition primarily because we're seeing a small piece converted into a commercial zone with everything around it being agriculture and everything around it being residential. And I live in a house that's maybe a half a mile away of a subdivision that has approximately 10 homes. The infrastructure for trailers coming and going and coming and going and double wides coming and going is not set up for commercial trailer activity. I think it's suitable for people that are going to come in and put a mobile home on a lot and live there, but to have the traffic coming in and out of trailers on a constant movement, as well as we're not seeing new trailers coming in, we're seeing trailers in destruction come in. I don't ever see good trailers go out. I know they're moving, but I don't see them come out. I just see tore apart trailers on this corner that the gentleman said he doesn't utilize the whole lot. But if we zone that commercial, that whole lot could be full of trailers that are all dilapidated and under construction. And that's a commercial renovation operation in an area that we're out there because we're in the middle of nowhere. And there's a lot of people that live out there that bought out there for that reason, not to have a commercial renovation building. And once you take a piece of property and zone it commercial, that doesn't mean that this gentleman is going to be the person that's ultimately always going to be renovating the trailers. It's commercial now, and it's not suitable, in my opinion, to that area, to what could potentially take place beyond this gentleman. If he gets tired of operating this business or decides he doesn't, things change in the world, he sells the property, then what do we have? A commercial piece of property zoned right in the middle of, there's no commercial around. I think with 27 and 171 in either direction, we've got plenty of places for that to take place instead of a rural residential area. Just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Simmons.
Have you seen the place before I got the place? I don't know if y'all got pictures. Do y'all? No. Okay. I mean, nobody complained about that. Okay. And what I can limit to do, if I can, all I want is to build where the shop is. I don't want the, like he said about the whole property all the way down to the end. And I understand where he's coming, and I've got nothing against him, man. I just want you to know that, sir. But you know what I mean? We come in there, we've been doing this all our life. I've been pulling trailers since I was born. I'm 52 years old. My daddy did it. My son owns companies. My brother, the whole family. That's all we do. And anyway, I'm bringing houses in there right now. I got a few that I'm hauling to Houston, and they'll be gone in about 30 days. The ones on the right side of the fence, sir. But the ones with the building is, they're going to limit down. I mean, because it ain't going to be always, That's what I say. If you could give me like 10 trailers, just to sit inside that fenced-in area.
Okay.
I mean, what are we supposed to do? I can't afford to go buy a piece of property that somebody already had engineered out there on 27, because I got a price on a piece of property. It's $130,000, and I just spent $100,000 on this, plus, developing it all. So, I think all the,
Any questions for the gentleman? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Porcher.
I appreciate the applicant's position. I'd like to repeat everything I said on the previous agenda item, but without repeating it, I guess. Save us some time.
Spot zoning.
My concerns are exactly the same of placing commercial zoning in the middle of the agricultural area.
Once that action is taken, it's taken, irregardless of whom is in possession.
set up a
Yes,
Sir.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ms.
So
Ms. Winey?
again, just amongst the board, so I just want to make sure I'm understanding this right. So technically, he's already in violation of what he should not be doing with the property, correct? Because, already treating it as though it's already zoned for such, but when it's really not. Is that how I'm understanding?
That is correct.
Okay.
There was activity being performed on that property, I presume prior to Mr. Simmons, which my office had been notified of, and we investigated that, and we found that there was a business being operated there, and we sent multiple citations, and none of them were addressed, and then evidently this property turned over to Mr. Simmons, and it continued to happen. And so I think that's when Mr. Simmons made application to come before you tonight. But this has been going on for some time.
Ms. Kyle?
Does Mr. Simmons have some trailers on there now?
Ma'am? Yes.
Is
Oh,
there
yes,
stuff
they're
on-
in operation right
Okay,
now.
will it be allowed some time to get it off if we deny this?
Oh, yeah, he'll have some time, but, I mean, it'll have to be immediate.
Any other questions,
Yeah,
concerns?
it's just hard, because I understand you have property, you want to do what you want with it, and you're out in the middle of nowhere, but if we zone commercial, it's forever. And so it's a hard, yeah.
Ms. Christie, roll call vote?
Mr. Little?
No.
Mr. Porsche?
No.
Mr. Williams? No. Ms. White?
No.
Ms. Dickerson? No. Ms. Cobb? No. Ms. Gleason?
No.
Ms. Hyatt? No. 8 against.
Motion fails. The next item on the agenda is to advise that the police jury took the following action on March 24th, 2022, with reference to the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Board from the March 22nd, 2022 meeting. Driftwood LNG LLC, Burton Shipyard Road, Planning and Zoning recommended approval, police jury approved. Driftyard LNG LLC, Global Drive, Planning and Zoning recommended approval, police jury approved. Sasol, Obel Air subdivision and Lincoln Heights subdivision, Planning and Zoning approved, police jury approved. James Cheney, Miller Street, Planning and Zoning recommended approval, police jury approved. Tomasi Disposal Incorporated, Corbina Road, Planning and Zoning recommended approval, police jury approved. The next item on the agenda is to advise that the next regularly scheduled Planning and Zoning meeting will be held on Tuesday, May 17th, 2022. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Whitey, second by Ms. Dickerson.
Shame on you, you're
The meeting is adjourned.